Think about something or some place that you've never seen before. Do you see images of unusual people or fantastic landscapes? Some people imagine things in terms of mathematical equations and physical laws. I'm Warren James. Isn't imagination wonderful? Albert Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Well, this is where we explore the worlds of the imagination and bring you products from that world. Products that you can buy right here on the Sci-Fi Trader. And this is a place where people who have the ability to share their imagination with others drop by. People like Larry Niven, the author of Ringworld, who will share the fruits of his imagination with us later in the show. And my first guest, Drew Struzan, whose paintings have formed many of the mental images that fill your imagination when you think about the movies. Like the poster you're looking at right now, that commemorates the 10th anniversary of Star Wars, Return of the Jedi. Drew, this poster is fabulous, and I really love the fact that you and David Prowse, the actor who played Darth Vader in the films, both will be signing this poster exclusively for us. You know, you do a magical job of taking a multi-hour movie and turning it into a single image. How do you do that?
Start with a nice, easy question.
Yes, right.
Basically, because I probably haven't seen the film, so all I know is very little about it. Now, it comes out of 25 years of experience in the movies, knowing what people want to see and then giving them what they expect. And I know the movie's going to deliver, so it's really not that hard.
Mm-hmm. How do you find that single scene or image that you want to find?
I know what I like, and I find that most other people like the same thing visually, so you just go for what you like, and it's a common image most of the time.
And you're fortunate that what you like is what other people are going to want to see? And
I guess that's why I'm still working.
Some people are lucky that way. You've got a very active visual imagination in terms of putting things together. How do you develop your visual imagination? Because different people imagine things in different ways. How is it that you're so lucky to be visual?
Well, you said it different the second time, and that's really the answer in itself. I was born that way. Some people, like you said about Einstein, think in numbers. I think with my eyes. I answer all my questions visually. I understand everything visually. I don't read a lot because they're words. I paint a lot, and that's where I take in my information, and that's where I tell my stories, is with my eyes.
Yes, yes. Now, you didn't just do the Star Wars posters. You've done a phenomenal amount of work. What are some of the other movies you've worked on? Yeah, so we have 2 or 3 hours, so take your time.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that there's any other artists who've done as many printed one-sheets as I have. I've done about 150 printed one-sheets. But they range from everything from Star Wars, as you said, to Indiana Jones, E.T., Back to the Future. Many of the films you've seen over the last 20 years I've done.
Now, when you're doing a movie poster, what are the various technical challenges that you see as an artist in terms of composition or color? What restrictions do movie posters apply to your work as an artist?
Well, I'm an artist, and that's what I'm interested in, but I'm also an illustrator, which means I'm representing someone else's product and someone else's idea. So it's like you touched on earlier, I have to get my spirit attuned to whatever the movie is and what they're trying to sell or advertise, or just get people interested in with the movie. That's the first challenge, and then I add all the artistic ones about composition and color and design. So it's many faceted problems that have to be faced.
How did you get into doing this work? Did you decide you wanted to do movie posters, or did it just
No, when I first started in the movie business, it was not a business for illustrators. It almost developed around me. A lot of it did. I've been told that anyway. I'm here in Hollywood because I went to school here, and I didn't have the money to go anywhere else looking for work after school. And because the movies was here, I just fell into doing movies.
Well, that was a very happy accident. Thanks for joining us, Drew, and thanks for creating those memorable single images that captured an entire movie. Thank you.
You're all very welcome.
Only a few of our fans will actually get the chance to own this poster because there's a really limited supply. Now, Darla, tell them how they can get a copy.
Warren, this really is a special offer. To commemorate the 10th anniversary of Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, Lucasfilm has licensed this limited edition work by artist Drew Struzan. The Trader has made a rare and exclusive deal available only through this show. There are only 180 of these gold foil versions that will be signed by Drew Struzan and the actor David Prowse, who played Darth Vader. This artwork was created for the third film in the Star Wars trilogy, when what came to be known as Return of the Jedi was to be called Revenge of the Jedi. Problem was, Jedis don't seek revenge, so George Lucas recalled the small amount of Revenge of the Jedi posters, which were released for promotional purposes, and they became instant collector's items, valued in the hundreds of dollars. Now's your opportunity to own not only Drew Struzan's fantastic artwork for the Revenge poster, but also to have one signed by both Drew and the Dark Lord of the Sith himself, David Darth Vader Prowse. And each comes with a numbered certificate of authenticity. And as if that wasn't enough, this official one-sheet poster celebrates Return of the Jedi's 10th anniversary with the Jedi logo printed in gold foil. Now, I want to make this perfectly clear. There will only be 180 of these that come with both of these signatures. And as hard as it is to believe, the first 180 callers will be able to own this rare collectible for only $79.95.
This could be just the perfect chance to own a great work of art without the usual expense. I know my friends would love this opportunity, and many of you will too. When we return, Warren takes us on a trip through the known space universe with its author, Larry Niven.
You're watching Sci-Fi.
My next guest is the famous science fiction author Larry Niven, a man who creates interesting and unusual places and then tells stories about them. Larry Niven's Known Space Universe is one of the most fascinating series in science fiction, and it's my pleasure to have him with us now. Larry, how did you come up with the whole Known Space Universe in the first place?
Not as a whole, story by story. Writing, using a background over again, if you liked it, is always a reasonable thing to do when you've got a story that fits. So series generate themselves. And Robert Heinlein had made them popular.
Yes, because you started in writing in the 1960s, and it was only gradually people noticed that all these stories kind of fit together.
Yeah. There's no need to notice. The story has to stand by itself every time.
And then eventually you've got this whole set of stories that are all interconnected, and there's a whole history.
Yes.
And part of that history involves contact between the humans and the Kzinti.
Yes.
Tell us a little about the Kzinti. They're a fascinating group of aliens.
Briefly, they stand 8 feet tall and weigh quite a lot. They're carnivores, they're belligerent, they're territorial, and humans had a lot of trouble with them. I should add that the Kzinti evolved while I was working with them. Originally, they were not very different from other people's aliens, but a home life evolved. For that matter, the home life was evolved by people who worked in the Man-Xin War series.
Yes.
I learned more about Kzinti family home life from Jerry Pournelle than I ever expected to.
Well, see, that's an interesting thought. In the Known Space Universe, you created, by osmosis, if nothing else, a whole universe and a history, and you populated it, and then a few years ago, you opened it up to let other people write in it. How did that come about?
Here's how it went. Jim Bain was in the back of my car, and we were on our way to a Nebula Awards banquet. That's the Science Fiction Writers of America Awards. Jim says, let's open up Known Space. And I said, no, Known Space is mine. And we drove a little further, and I said, let's open up the Man-Xin War period of Known Space, because I can't do war stories.
And so you then opened it up, let other people write in it. But it also inspired you to write more, didn't it?
I expected that, and it did happen. I had to guess as to whether people would be willing to work in my universe, enter my playground when they have playgrounds just as good in their own heads. Poul Anderson has the longest running series, in science fiction.
Yes, but he's one of my favorite authors, and he gladly joined and wrote,
Yes, he
wrote a
did.
nice set of stories in Man Kids and War. Now, you've also put another phenomenally interesting artifact in known space, and that's the ring world.
You bet.
Tell
In fact,
people about the ring world.
well, most of the territory of known space is the ring world because you've got to imagine a ribbon occupying the Earth's orbit. 600 million miles long, 93 million miles in radius, a million miles across, which is somewhat arbitrary, but it gives you 3 million times the surface area of the Earth. You need about as much mass as Jupiter has to build the thing. You spin it for gravity, which takes it at 770 miles per second, which means meteors do a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep the atmosphere in by setting 1,000-mile-high walls at the edges. You'll still lose a little atmosphere, but it'll be slow. The ring world is a lot of mass.
Right. And so you've got a huge amount of space where you can have civilizations and societies
Yes.
born, die, grow, and
You
evolve.
terraform it to your heart's content. That's
And-
why every body of water is surrounded by bays and fjords, because a lot of surface area gives you a lot more shoreline. The real estate salesmen love it.
And when you did the first Ringworld novel, then, did you think you were finished with Ringworld?
Yes, I did. After all, I said everything I intended to say about the ring world that I was capable of saying then.
Uh-huh.
It's just that more information surfaced later and kept right on surfacing. And I got better at handling larger groups of people in a story, which is why you meet more species in the second book.
Yes. What do you think was the appeal of Ringworld when it first came out and its continuing appeal? It's been in continuous publication.
Man, it felt like a heavy risk to me. This is a structure, no, this is a kind of story that hadn't appeared since like the Cosmic Engineers, back when the readers weren't expected to know any science.
Uh-huh.
Ringworld is big, and I had to keep hitting the reader with that so he wouldn't lose track of what was going on.
Uh-huh. But it seems to be just this continuous ongoing appeal in the story.
Here's the
and
appeal.
in Ringworld Engineers, the sequel.
It took me a while to figure this out. Ringworld is right at the cusp of something. It's complicated enough to stretch your mind, to teach thinking, in fact. It's simple enough that everyone who reads the book thinks he can improve it, and many of them are right.
Uh-huh.
It's quite different from the integral trees, for instance. The integral trees takes a lot more science background.
And that's a much more esoteric story involving, what, a neutron star and a gas torus around it, and
Yes,
and various other really exotic places.
really exotic stuff.
Yes, Larry, you create amazingly wonderful and exotic environments, and I delight in seeing them, and I look forward to seeing many more in the future. I want to thank you for creating the wonderful places you've done and the stories you've told. And we're going to have you autograph copies of The Guide to Ringworld. And
Okay.
so why don't we have you start right now? Great, thank you. Now, if you've never read anything by Larry Niven, you're about to get the chance to discover his stories for the first time, and that's a pleasure to be savored. Darla and Josh will tell you how you can experience the wonders of Larry Niven's known space universe for yourself.
The Trader has assembled 2 collections of books by and about Larry Niven and his known space universe. These books will delight longtime fans of Larry's as well as newcomers. First, we have The Guide to Larry Niven's Ringworld by Kevin Stein. This is a wonderful encyclopedia and tour guide that will introduce you to Larry's known space universe and will describe the most imagination-stretching creation in science fiction, the Ringworld. We have a limited number of hardbound copies of this fabulous book available for $19.95. And Larry Niven, the creator of the Ringworld, has agreed to autograph each and every one of them. These hardbound copies are extremely hard to find, and signed editions are almost non-existent. You can get your copy of this very special book by calling
A few years ago, Larry Niven invited some of the most famous science fiction writers in the world to join him in writing stories set in the known space universe. The result is a series of books that show what happens when pacifistic humans encounter fiercely warlike aliens known as the Kzinti. The Trader's Larry Niven collection includes the complete 6-volume set of books in the Man-Kazin War series, and Larry's signing the first volume in that series, made available here on The Trader. And just for fun, we've included the book Fallen Angels, written by Larry Niven, Jerry Pournelle, and Mike Flynn. This book is a loving and funny look at how science fiction fans in the next century save humanity from an ice age, reinvent the space program, and have a good time while poking fun at trendy opinions and philosophies. You can get this set of 7 books for an amazing price of $29.95 by
So that's 2 different and very special Larry Niven offerings. The autographed hardbound copy of The Guide to Larry Niven's Ring World for $19.95 and the 6-volume Man-Kazin War series, including Fallen Angels, for the low price of $29.95. Either of these offerings. Call now and you'll get a collection of science fiction that will set your imagination on fire.
When we come back, the hottest movie prop of the season, the actual transformation mask from the hit movie, The Mask, starring Jim Carrey.
You know, we try to bring you wonderful and unusual things from the world of science fiction every week, but what's this? I mean, it's just lying around on the set. It looks like some old mask. I wonder if it's something Jim Latta left lying around.
Smoking! When I put that mask on, I become a completely different person. With these powers, I could be a superhero!
They call me Cuban Pete. When I play the maracas, I go chick, chicky, boom, chick, chicky, boom.
Somebody stop me!
Smokin'! The Mask is predicted to be this summer's biggest blockbuster film. It stars Jim Carrey of In Living Color and Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. This is one of the original masks utilized in the making of the film, which causes Carrey's magical transformation. This mask starts a chain of events featuring state-of-the-art dazzling effects like you've just seen, which were created by George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic. As you might have noticed, Carrey's character undergoes an amazing transformation, which turns him into a metamorphizing, crime-fighting superhero with an arsenal of one-liners. Now, this rare collectible is not for sale, but we do have a very special collectible from the film that is. Josh and Darla, why don't you tell everyone how they can own a piece of this summer's most magical movie?
The first item in our mask offering is this Blow Mind official movie one-sheet featuring Smokin' Jim Carrey, sure to become a major collector's item. Remember, these mask posters are the actual promotional one-sheets now being used in the theatrical release of the film, and were created to be displayed only in the movie theaters. But the Trader's posters don't have pinholes, aren't faded by the sun, and best of all, are rolled and not folded. And they're sent to you in a crush-proof mailing tube. Jim Carrey has already been cast in the planned sequel of The Mask, so these rare, rolled one-sheets are destined to be a classic collectible.
And we're combining the movie one-sheet with this outrageous mask t-shirt that Josh is wearing. This is a beefy Hanes heavyweight, 100% pre-shrunk cotton t-shirt. It comes in medium, large, and extra large sizes. The colors are fantastic, and when you put this on, everyone will know that you're smokin'. Both of these items are yours for only $29.95 by calling to do that.
If you'd like to write us at the Sci-Fi Trader,
If you're a fan of the Sci-Fi Channel and you'd like to show your colors, we're featuring the striking black mock turtleneck. It has the Sci-Fi Channel Planet logo embroidered in electric turquoise. It's made of 100% pre-shrunk cotton and comes in medium, large, and extra large.
Channel mock turtleneck. Only $24.95 for this great shirt. And if you'd like any of the other products that we featured on the show today, call us. Remember, We have the Star Wars Return of the Jedi 10th Anniversary commemorative poster, and as hard as it is to believe, the first 180 callers will be able to own this rare collectible for only $79.95 when you call. In the foreground is the quintessential battle between good and evil waged by Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. The background is the looming silhouette of Darth Vader's helmet set over a crimson blood sky. Artist Drew Struzan and David Prowse, the actor who portrayed Darth Vader, put their John Hancock on these. Also, we have the Larry Niven offerings, including the signed guide to Larry Niven's Ringworld for $19.95 and the Man-Kazin Wars collection, which Larry's signing the first volume of, for only $29.95. Plus, you get the national bestseller Fallen Angels at absolutely no cost to you. Larry is one of science fiction's preeminent authors, and the opportunity to own signed copies of his work is very exciting.
Next, we have this fun offering from the hit movie, The Mask. This official movie one-sheet featuring Jim Carrey, plus this neat t-shirt, all for $29.95.
To order any of these fabulous items. And of course, the Trader offers a 30-day money-back guarantee on every item that we feature. Now here's Warren for one last piece of brain candy.
Here's a thought from a man who imagined things that might be and tried to make them so. John Kennedy said, "You can't depend on your judgment when your imagination is out of focus." I'm Warren James, and this is the Sci-Fi Trader. Till next time, keep your imagination focused, because that way you'll be sure to see us.